This is the golden rule. Let's talk about it. We don't gotta walk around it. Your Bluetooth, the new tennis shoe. We finding new balance. Faith, family, and talents. How we find God around it. East y'all got the ox now. This your favorite channel. What we on Faith Talk? This a good space to talk. We gon' cross every road if we got a jaywalk. What we on sports now? No, this ain't sports center, but ever since Acot, the boy had the sport in him. Man of the house now. What we talking family ties? My dogs won't talk to me. Surely I'm a family guy. You can bring the conversation to me, get it analyzed. Men lie, women lie, the truth should be baptized. Whatever you put into this world is what you getting back. So while you listening in your car, try and sit with that. While you listening in the gym, try and lift the mat. This is podcast and cool. Welcome to the Golden Rule. It's golden, baby.
Yo, what up? What up? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, folks? Man, it's your boy E Show. I'm here today, man. I'm back with a special episode. And I got a special guest today, man. This takes me way back. This is my partner from years ago, man. It's a special one, man. And for the folks who went to school with me, they're gonna know who this is. Trust me. Man, we got a very esteemed gentleman, a very esteemed colleague of mine, man. All conference high school player in the state of Oklahoma. He earned the athletic scholarship to Abilene Christian University. A teammate of mine, I played semi-pro over there for many years. This is one of the best teammates I had over there. More importantly, man, this dude was a mentor, and he also kind of showed me the ropes, man, helped groom me to become the man that I am today, man. He is currently the dean of students at Eisenhower Middle School over there in Oklahoma. Former Lawton High School running back coach, defensive back coach. He coached the receivers, special teams coordinator, man. He's just a all-around stellar guy, man. And man, I'm excited, man. I'm elated to have him today, man. Man, I want y'all to help me, man. Help me introduce my partner, De'Andre Swanson, to the episode, man. What's going on, Sugar Train?
What up? Shoulder deal. What's good, family? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. I've been watching. I've been paying attention to you, and you got something nice going on here, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it, family.
Man, always, man. I made this the concept of this podcast. I had you in mind because of people like you, man. So it's you. It's my pleasure. It's my privilege to have you on here, man. I definitely appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Good.
The feeling is mutual, family. The feeling is mutual, man. Let's rock.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. You said something there before we went live. You said, show the deal. Man, tell the deal, man. What's going on? Where'd you get that from, man?
So to be honest with you, I got it from you. The homies Jesse. It's a couple of names I could drop. Our little homies that kind of run around the city, man, the city of Lawton and whatnot. And they kind of know what that means. To be honest with you, I really don't know what it means other than it's just some kind of little colloquial, greeting that we used to shoot back and forth at each other, man. And our little way to say that we recognize each other. I see you and what's up, family? You know what I'm saying? Like your family, your people. I got a couple of homies, Craig Foster. In particular, is about the only other person I could shoot that at. I'll get it back because he know what's up. But yeah, man, that's what it is. You remember them days we was working at the gym, little shoulder deal, and I'd be out there giving you them. Yeah, you talked all that about football, but you ain't mentioned nothing about basketball, though.
Oh man, I don't see. A lot of people don't even know how cold I was, but we gonna say
that. Yeah. You was like that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Man, we got you on today. Of course, the topic of discussion for this particular episode is education in our community. And I know you got a lot to touch on that. Very influential, of course. But before we get to that, I want to tell I gotta let people know your athletic background, man. I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot of people who know De'Andre Swanson in Oklahoma, man. And the people who know him know that, man, although he was a smaller guy in stature, bro, nobody had a bigger heart. And I'm gonna tell you, man, the guy outworked almost everybody. He was the hardest working dude I knew, but just put it like this: the amount of talent that he had, if that was in a 6 foot body, no question, everybody across worldwide would know who he is. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's kind of how I felt too. My bank account would appreciate it if I was about 6 feet tall too. But nah, man, I credit and attribute a lot of that to my pops because so early on in my athletic career or whatever at the early beginnings, man, my pops was my coach in everything except football, which is really weird. But now, I mean, being a smaller guy, being on the smaller side of things, and knowing that size can, in some ways, in a lot of different ways, be a disadvantage, especially in football. There was that sense or that need for me to be able to outwork and work harder, twice as hard as anybody else, because if I wanted to get the same results in my mind anyway, I felt like I had to work twice as hard as everybody else to do it, man. So that definitely kind of came across. And I think too, another thing that really separated me, was my enthusiasm, bro. I love football. I love the work of it. A lot of people don't necessarily fall in love with the discipline of what it takes to be exceptional or to be standout or to be great at a thing. And I just think, from you haven't been around me athletically, but also in a work setting, like, when we worked together out at Honeycut, you remember them days, bro?
Oh yeah.
I was willing to put the work in. I was willing to do things that other people wouldn't do. Some things that people kind of shied away from, and hard work, bro, has never been a stranger to me. So, unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to do nothing to make millions of dollars playing football. But the truth is that there was still an impact there. I think the ability to leave an impact or have an impact on guys like yourself. And now what I'm doing with these kids, man, is undeniable. So I appreciate the accolades. I appreciate it, bro. But the truth is, man, I got everything I needed to get out of the game. And now even more so because I'm getting to give back and teach young people about life and how to be a good man, utilizing the game of football, utilizing the game of basketball, so on and so forth, bro. Yep.
And that's key because you are always a leader of men. Like you got younger men to listen to you, but also the older cats took heed to what you were saying as well. And it all was by what you led by. You always led by example. And I knew that, and especially when you start working with kids in the community and stuff like that, I knew that there was going to be an easy transition for you because you were already used. Again, you had Dreon and Draylon out there when they was,
Oh yeah.
babies,
Oh yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we already knew, and you was always like, it wasn't like you was always watching them to see if they was looking at you to see what you was doing. No, that's just the type of person you were, man. You were always a leader amongst men. Not only, we obviously knew that we could depend on Dre to make the big play, right? I mean, that went without saying. That was going to happen every game, regardless.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? But
more often than not,
for sure. For sure, man. But you were always a leader amongst men. So I knew that it was going to be an easy transition when you decided to work with kids in the education system because you knew how to, motivate people and get people, to get on that path. Not an easy task to do, but we knew that it was going to be easy for you to do, man. Absolutely,
man. I've been blessed with a certain stash, a certain cachet of charisma. And so that kind of almost makes it a little easier. But this is the one thing I will say, man, about that, because you can be flashy and you can be fly, and you can draw people in with that. But once that wears off and once that goes away, is there some real substance up underneath all the flash? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Me and a couple of the homies, it took us, an extra 45 minutes to get ready. We here spatting our shoes up and making sure our towel is hit right, taping the wrists up and all this extra stuff, right? But that wouldn't mean anything if the plays didn't come, if the touchdowns, if the punt returns, if the interceptions, you know what I'm saying? So if there was no real impact that I was making or that you making on the game, then really all you trying to do is look cute, bro. You just shucking and jiving for real. So for me, you remember that movie Jerry Maguire back in the day?
Of course.
With my dude, I think it's Cuba Gooding Jr., right? He was talking about having the Quan, right? The total package, right? Having it all. I wanted it all. And he wanted the money to go with the substance, with the flash and the personality and all that type of stuff. So there was definitely, if you really want to be honest, once you have what you need from a substantive standpoint, then you can add all this other fluff and looking good and spatting your cleats and talking greasy and grimy and trying to be flying all that other type of stuff. Because the truth is, bro, if you can't back that up with the way you play, then you just talking, man. You know what I'm saying? You just walking. So that's something that I took a great deal of pride in. And like, no matter where I've gone and no matter what I've done, with any sport, I don't think that there's anybody, especially even at my size, that could say I couldn't play or, that I was trash or, you know what I mean? I didn't leave my imprint or make an impact. And I think that speaks to, that speaks more than any other accolade or anything, that we could talk about. Seriously.
I agree 100%, man. It ain't nobody really and truly. I can't think of one person that can say that, man. You're right. I took that right there when it comes to, putting up or shutting up on the field. Definitely.
Yeah, man.
I definitely took a page out of the book, man.
Yeah. You're right. That's life. That's life right. Too. That's life too now.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
Know what I'm saying? That's life too. It's a lot of people that talk this and talk that, but when the rubber need to meet the road, family, when something really got to get done, are you that dude? Or are you just talking about you are that dude? That's two different things, bro. Two different things.
Bro, I got a bunch of stories, bro. Like a bunch of stories. I want to touch on a couple of them real quick.
Okay, let's do it. Let's dive deep. I got a couple myself. Yeah.
All right. So the first story is this. And this one I was like, yeah, man, like I'll follow this dude through any battle ever in life, bro, when it comes to this football stuff.
I feel like I know where you're going with this.
I don't know if you strained your knee. I don't know if you tore a meniscus or I really think you tore it for real. But I was playing quarterback. We played for the Diamonds. Man, that's a story in itself. But I was playing quarterback.
Okay, so where were we at again? Say that again.
I was playing quarterback.
For
the Duncan Diamonds, and we went to, I think Southeast Missouri. We went to some college in Southeast Missouri State. We was playing this team, and you was like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't know how much I can give y'all, and you played receiver that day. You remember when you ran that slanting out, and I threw,
yeah.
Bro, what did you do to your knee?
So actually, the week or a couple of weeks prior to that, we played up in. If you remember, we played up in Ada, and a lineman. I was blitzing. I was coming down blitzing A gap. I forget what the call was we had for that knife or scissor or something like that. Anyway, right. I walk down and I go to blitz through A gap, and I got cut, man. And I felt like it was pretty dirty too, man. Little lineman cut me. Hit me right on that knee, and I thought, or at least, because it's something that I had never had happen to me before, and I actually went. At the time, I'm not even really sure I had health insurance or nothing like that. But I went to go see an athletic trainer, and he told me he thought that I had torn my ACL. That was on my left knee, and I remember I sat down probably for about 2 or 3 weeks, and we ain't touched on this yet, but we're gonna get there. Man, I went to church, man. I remember this like it was yesterday. The week before we played that game, I went to church, and the pastor, man, I told him about my knee. We got together, man. He prayed over my knee, and right after that, I never had another problem with that leg, man.
What?
And I remember catching that ball. I feel like I caught a touchdown and maybe even a 2-point conversion too, or something like that. I don't want to be one of them dudes adding on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Embellishing. But I remember what you're talking about. I remember that.
Yeah. Bro, when
And
you did that, because remember we was down like by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and we end up coming back and going to overtime. Remember Ray Vaughn caught that touchdown?
Yeah,
Bro,
I remember that.
When you ran that, first of all, dog, for people who don't understand, like when you tear your ACL,
Your
when you
knee ligament thing. Yeah, that ain't no joke.
There's no lateral movement. Okay,
that ain't no joke, bro.
Bro, this man ran a slant and out, bro. And when I tell you that created so much, I said, "What the?" Hey, I said, "Oh my god!"
Fell out there, chair on that dude. Gave me that head and shoulders. Look, that's all I got is head and shoulders. In and out. Yeah, man.
Bro, you was real. I knew you was real, but when you did that with a, I think you tore it. But when you did that with a torn ACL, I said, "Man, this dude real, man." Hey, something wrong with this.
I appreciate that. So something that you don't know, you know, in the middle of me kind of going through that too, and you know, none of this really makes you tough down when you look back on it, right?
Right.
So there's a thin line between being tough and being dumb, being stupid.
Right.
But you know, again, I never went and had an MRI. I never went and got like an official diagnosis or nothing like that. And I remember at the time I was working out on Forest Hill. We were doing security on the gate. Me and a couple of the other homies who played. And I remember standing up on them gates, man, for like 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and my knees swole up. And just I don't know, man, just doing what you got to do, man, to survive, doing what we had to. And that one of the real reasons why I appreciate it and why I wanted to don this today, man, why I wanted to rep for the Rebels, man, is because like that was a period of time in my life when we were younger men. It was beautiful. There was something special about that unit, about that group of men, our ability to come together, especially, bro, in a place like Lawton, where you know, in a lot of ways it's kind of almost still like that. But you know, I remember us, you know, going to the school board, going out to Cameron, and going all these different places, and wearing suits and ties, and pitching, you know, these ideas for the team, and being shut down, and no, you can't play here, no, you can't play there, and whether that was because the people who came before us didn't represent it the right way, didn't carry that mantle the right way, it was still something that was an outlet for us. It gave us something to do on Saturday nights, for sure. In my life, in a lot of different ways, it kept me from getting in trouble. It gave me something constructive to do. Yeah, man. And it, you know, I ain't never been a street dude, so that never really was gonna be a problem for me. But you know, we had a couple dudes that was cut from that cloth. That man, if they weren't playing with us on Saturday, bro, ain't no telling what they would have been doing. So you know, and again, I think it, you know, I don't want to take the conversation left, but that speaks to the mentality of where it is that where we lived at the time, and some of the reluctancy that people had to give young people of color, especially, a shot, man. And so, man, when I look back on it, there's so many different layers deep for what the Rebels means to me and what it meant to be your teammate, bro. So and in a minute, I'm gonna hijack your podcast because I got to talk about you too. So let's go.
Hey, man,
let's go. Because I got a story too. You want to dive into that? We can trade war story. Okay. So first of all, let's keep it a buck. Okay. Now there was a time when I know for a fact you weren't even interested in playing quarterback. You was like, nah, I don't want that responsibility. And it was almost kind of like, you know, you were shunning that, right? So, and this is so dope because I think this is going to bring this conversation full circle a little bit. I'm going to try to tie a bow on it and not be too long with it like I normally am. But I don't even know. I felt like because we might have been working together or something. I can't remember if I wrote you, text you, or something like that. And I was talking to you about the ability that you had that maybe you didn't even think that you had, the athletic ability, and because of that ability, it dictates, it mandates that you step up and lead. You remember that? I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I think,
Also,
man, I think I do.
So also too, and this was a big one. I think you know, a lot of people, and I deal with this every day at work. You know, there's a lot of young people who kind of shy away or run away from leadership, having leadership potential, and having the ability, excuse me, to lead other people, because you don't necessarily want to be held responsible or whatnot when something goes wrong or when something fails. And man, that's the wrong reasons to do that. I think a lot of people miss out on grand opportunities to promote themselves or to move up in the world. Because they're afraid of what might happen or what might go wrong. What if something goes right, bro? You know what I mean? What if you step up into this position, or you know, you move up and things go the right way? So, and that's exactly what happened when you became a quarterback. So,
right,
I definitely appreciated the fact that there was some trepidation or some hesitation on your part, but after having a conversation and having these talks, and getting to know you a little bit better too, man, you know, and seeing you step into that role and flourish. I remember, okay, so I'm gonna take you back to Joplin, Missouri. Okay, we sit down watching film. I think this was at Carvin's house, or I don't think you were there at this particular time. But we were talking about formations, tendencies, and all this other type of stuff. And I know you remember this particular play though. We got them backed up in their goal line almost. They might have been inside their 5-yard line, something like that. And the way that they lined up, the little motion, the splits that they took, everything. I remember telling you, hey, listen, Eddie, the slant is coming, bro. The slant is coming. Stay inside, jump the slant. And I listen. As soon as the ball got snapped, you drove on that ball. You remember this? You drove on that ball and picked that ball, walked it right back in the end zone. So it's little stuff like that, man. It's you know, it's and I think in those moments, in those moments, you had the opportunity to kind of see, you know what, man, Dre was right. You know what I mean? And I think that that's a good thing. That's a part of you know, I'm studying. I'm getting my master's degree now in ed leadership. So thank you, man. We've been looking at a lot of what it means to actually be a leader, right? And there's all these different theories, and all these different theorists, and all these, you know, little variables that go into what make people good leaders, bro. And at the end of the day, I think it's the grandest thing that you can do, and the easiest and the best way that you can lead is by example, bro. And I that's always been my motto. And you know that, having played with me, having been around me, as a father, you know, as a husband, and all that. So definitely, we got a couple more football stories we can get into. But I just remember, man, hey, Eddie, the slant coming, Eddie. Watch the slant. My man walked right down on that ball too, and walked it right on in there.
Nobody, look, man, you approach the game like ultra cerebral, but and that's one thing I had to make sure that I at least tried to match that. Like this dude, like you showed me the importance of studying film. And tendencies and stuff like that. Because I mean, like you say, man, when I came into the Rebel situation, bro, I was deep at the bottom of that roster, bro. Talking about working yourself up, like it wasn't nothing like. And I'm gonna show you how that's full circle. Me coming over here to North Carolina playing ball, but I was under some talented dudes, man. But like I said, you took me under your wing, man. And that exact play you talking about, hey, you told me before the game, hey man, if they line up in this formation right here, dog,
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Hey, I heard. Hey, bro, I heard you in the game. Hey, you said, hey, the slant coming.
The slant is coming, bro. The slant coming. You walk. I remember this like it was yesterday, bro. You walk right down in front of that ball. Because I felt like I had a really good game. I think we ended up losing the game or whatnot. I think that was about. I don't know if you can see my knuckle right here. I put it up on the camera. That might be kind of gross.
Yeah.
Wifey get mad at me. I don't know if you can see how fat that knuckle is, but I felt like that was the day I actually broke that finger. Because I had already dislocated it earlier in the season. But because I remember I caught a pick. I had like a fumble recovery or something like that. And these are all things that, at first I wasn't really into watching film and breaking film down and doing all this other type of stuff. All these extra prerequisites if you really want to get good at it. But these are things, these are tools that I think, definitely helped make me a much better football player and definitely a better coach. Definitely, it's like you can't really call yourself, a high school coach. I even think a middle school coach. When I was coaching, I ended up coaching middle school football at Central, where I went to school for a year, bro. And it seemed like it was a foreign concept to film the games and sit the kids down and break down film and talk to them about how they can do better, how you miss this block. This technique is what's going to help us get, all that type of stuff. So definitely, man, definitely. We in 2005 and 2006, bro, in 2005, 2006, we were a force to be reckoned with. We had some dudes on those teams. You know what? Let me get this off my chest. Rest in peace, PJ Charity. Rest in peace, Craig Carter. Rest in peace, Jason DeBay. Malcolm Johnson, Jawan Jackson, Derek Camacho. The list goes on and on. Mon Allen, Matt Allen, Alonzo, and Matt
Allen, man.
Zoe's kid, I got Zoe's kid at the school now. I got introduced to him the other day. So it was a collective. It was an eclectic little bunch, a motley crew, if you would, of guys who kind of came together. And Mr. Brewer at running back. Who else we had? We had playing. You played quarterback for a little while. We had Zane Ivey out there.
Yeah.
We were good, bro. We were good. We were good. We had a couple dudes from the military too, and it was dope. It was dope, for definitely for being what it was, man. Like I said, I know the man that I was, and dealing with some of the situations that I was dealing with the mother of my children. God bless her. I needed I needed an outlet, bro. I needed an outlet because I was gonna get myself in trouble. And the homie, remember we went to I think it was Heldon down there by Ardmore.
Man.
And I ran up on that dude.
Man, look here, man.
Threw my helmet up, man. So it's
man. Hey, that's my last story. I want to tell one more story before we get into the subject. All right, so look.
All right, let's do it.
You were going through what you was going through, man, with the mother of your kids, man. And I was like, Drake,
yes,
I said before the guys like, you straight? It's like, man, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like I'm finna go out here and I'm finna try to kill somebody. Man.
I said it just like that. I remember that. I said it just like that.
I said, you might not want to play this game, bro. He said, nah, dog. I'm finna go out here and play.
Oh yeah.
No. Hey, they kicked that ball off, man. Hey, that boy grabbed that ball, dog. Hey, Dre, why you? The only thing I remember, dog, is you dove at him, bro. Your body was horizontal.
So I don't want to hijack the story. So this is what happened, right?
Yeah.
They ran a draw play. Had this little running back dude. I think we found out later he was a cop or something like that. But right. They ran a draw play. And it was right up the middle. What's crazy is like as soon as they handed him the ball, me and dude made eye contact, and like the middle of the field just kind of opened up. It was so crazy. And we looked right at each other, man. And I came straight down that rail, right into the front room, bro. And I tried to jump through his chest, jump through his body, bro. I tried to take his head off with me. And I remember he kind of folded back because I saw it on video afterwards. I didn't really know, but like I said, it's a good thing that football is a constructive outlet for us young men who sometimes don't have any emotional intelligence. And at that time, I definitely didn't. I was working on trying to be the best dad I could be and all that. And I was a little frustrated, bro. And I'm not gonna lie to you. It did not necessarily take away all the frustration and pain that I felt that I was going through, but I felt a little bit better after rocking that dude. I ain't gonna even lie to you, bro. I ain't gonna even lie to you. That felt good, and it felt good to win the game.
Yeah,
you remember so you remember Kool-Aid, right? The homie Jeff Howell.
Yeah.
I think because he scooped the ball up and ran it back for a touchdown. And we celebrated, man. I think I lost my mind because I remember, I don't even know if you remember this. I hit him in his face, Jeff, our teammate. I hit him in his face and blacked his eye, man, swole his eye shut. I don't even know if you remember that. I don't know. Listen to me, Eddie, man. I don't know what was wrong. I don't know what I was on that day. But I'm grateful for God and His grace, bro. And I'm also grateful for that didn't go, sideways, man. That's it. Football is a great equalizer, bro. Great equalizer, especially for somebody, my size, because it's a lot of dudes. It's a lot of dudes around that think that they're tough and think that they got it. But bro, when you put that equipment on, man, when you strap that stuff up, bro, and you get between the lines, bro, you can't talk your way out of that.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people can talk about how they were this and about how they were that, but I'm from the show me state, family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm from the show me state. I see better than I can hear. Show me what's up. And I'm telling you, man, it was such an unbelievable, just an unbelievably compelling time for me because I was around a bunch of dogs, bro.
Yeah.
We went places with, 14, 15 people, and we're beating teams by 40 points and stuff like that. Some of them games when some of the homies couldn't make it. And those 2 championships in 2005, going undefeated. We lost the 1 game in 2006. Came at the last game in Joplin, came back and beat them in the championship.
Right.
Those moments and those those times are forever going to be for me as a football player. My most fondest memories for sure. That and the time I got to play with Pops, but that's for another podcast, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man.
So real quick, you hit Kool-Aid in the eye. What was
I did, man. I did. You could call and fact check that. We were just celebrating because he, like I said, when I hit dude, he folded up, he dropped the ball. Kool-Aid scooped it and ran it out. It probably was about 65, 70, 75 yards.
Yeah.
Ran it back. And Eddie, I'm telling you, man, dude, I remember going over to the sideline. I took my helmet off, bro. I took my helmet off and threw it. And I was yelling, you remember that? Don't run up on me. You remember that?
Yeah.
Maybe, it wasn't the homie's fault. You know what I mean? He didn't know what I was going through. He didn't know that I needed a hug that day. Okay. And like I said, it was the perfect outlet, the perfect opportunity to kind of take some of that out. And I think things got a little bit better after that, and I'm glad that I didn't take all that anger and frustration out, in the mother of my kids' direction, man. I'm grateful that God offered up a sacrifice, and I took advantage of that. Yes, sir.
Hey, man, those are good times, man.
Definitely.
Athletically, man, you was that boy. I'm gonna leave it there. Everybody knows.
It.
You was that boy. You was that boy. Like I said,
if
you was 6 foot above, we would be talking I really believe we would be talking a great NFL career, like straight up. And everybody knows.
Yeah. And I often think about that myself, and not necessarily having or really probably pursuing that. But when I look back on it, the guys that we played with, the camaraderie that we shared, the dudes in that locker room, I would imagine that most people watching this or when they hear this, man, they can tell that there's just this affinity, this affection that I have, and this pride that I carry with this logo, man, with this team. And guys like yourself, man, are right at the top of that list, bro. Right at the top of that list, because we were something else, bro. I mean, and I mean that in every sense of the word. I played college football for about 10 years. I think I played semi-pro, and then there's another 10, 12, 13 years after that. I jumped off into the flag football thing. We did that together too. Yeah, man, and it's all it's littered here and there with these crescendos, man. These moments of exceptional success, standout play, and all that good kind of stuff too, man. And just in the second act of my life, and I'm grateful for this too, because God's kind of moving me away from sports and athletics and taking me down a different path, bro. But I think that mentality, in some ways anyway, I think that mentality still is profitable for what it is that I do now with the kids and in education, bro.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And hey, perfect segue into our discussion.
Yeah, you like how I did that, right?
I love how you did that, bro. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate
yes,
you,
sir.
brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what with that, what got you into the field of education?
Okay, so I mean, and again, we go right back. We go right back to my upbringing. From my dad and him having and being such a driving force, an influential force in my life, man. Shout out to Pops, John Swanson, Sergeant First Class, retired. Man, I called Pops last weekend. I was writing a paper specifically about leadership, and the greatest leader that I've ever known. That was what came to mind. But he and I were having a conversation at one point. Again, I kind of alluded to that there were some difficulties that I was going through with the mother of my two boys, Drayon and Draylon, and I was trying to figure out a way to to spend more time with them, man. I was working these jobs and rarely getting to see them and stuff like that. And I had to figure something out, man, because it was tearing me up inside. Living in a broken situation, or my boys kind of growing up in a broken home, and that was something that I really wanted to try to remedy, or at least alleviate some of that. The dysfunction and things that come from not having a dad around every day, all day, that I think that most young people go through. So me and Pops had a conversation, man, and I never will forget that he phrased it just like this too, man. You need to figure out a way where you can steal as much time with these boys as you can. And I used to do this deal where I would go up to the school when they were at Cleveland Elementary, man, and I would read books in the elementary school class. And
you did that too when you was doing it.
Yeah. And spending time up there, kind of just being around the kids and whatnot. I'm the oldest of 5, so I've always kind of, had this take charge attitude and stuff like that in terms of, dealing with younger people. And so it was almost really kind of organic, like a little natural progression for me, man, to jump off into education, really as a means, solely. The only reason that I started it was to be able to spend more time with Drayon and De'Andre Swanson, bro. If I'm being honest, that was the whole motivation behind it. Yes, sir. So I started substitute teaching. At the time, I think I was working, and this was pretty close to the end of the time. Our little rain, don't run from the rain, was kind of coming to an end, and it was time for me to get something else figured out. I had a pretty decent job working out on Fort Sill. Was making a decent little chunk of change, man, during security out on those gates. And we ended up losing a contract for that. This was all around the same time, man. I put my bid in to try to get custody of these boys. I reached out to this father's rights group out in California. I represented myself in court. And went and got everything. I went and got everything that I asked for in terms of joint custody, visitation, lowered the child support down, all that type of stuff. And then we lost the contract out on Fort Sill, which kind of opened the door up for me to kind of, okay, well, you know what? I had this job where we were making all this money. We were going to take a pretty substantial pay cut. So then it was like, you know what? It's a no-brainer, man. I started substitute teaching. I went down. They had a position as a crisis intervention specialist, right? A crisis intervention specialist at Douglas Elementary School. I remember I applied for that job. I went and interviewed, and man, they didn't even really let me lead the interview. It was like, we want to hire you. And I started, that was in the spring, March, right after spring break, 2008, bro. And I ain't looked back since. Haven't looked back since. I've been with law and public schools now for a good 16 years, man. 16 years strong. And concurrently, I've been working out on Fort Sill at the youth center out there for the past 10 years. I've always had two jobs, with the economy being what it is and whatnot. And, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. No, I was just agreeing with you because I remember when you were doing these things, especially when you started at the youth center. I remember that. I even remember you were working at the youth detention center, wasn't you?
Yeah, I was working at the juvenile detention center. Yeah, the Comanche County Regional Juvenile Detention Center. I did that. Yep. I worked at a couple of group homes too. Man, and I got stories on top of stories, bro. When we started talking about, because I was doing that too while we were playing football. They even let me at the group home bring a couple kids out to some games, and I appreciated that because they needed to see some positive male role models as well.
Right.
And man, that JDC, man, that was a beast. That was a monster, man. That was something different. But it really, I appreciate having the opportunity to kind of work down there because I got in touch with my my power voice, the assertive and the affirmed side of who I am. You know what I mean? That was some crazy times down there too, bro. Shout out to the homie Ron, Big Ron. You remember Big Ron?
Oh,
Ron Hill? Yeah, man. Shout out to the homie Big Ron. We worked down there. The homie Marcus. Man, it'll come to me in a second. But man, Rucker, the homie Marcus Rucker. Yeah, man, it was some good times. Crazy times down there. Yeah.
Man, that's what's up, man. I remember, man. Like I say, again, trying to kind of follow behind your tutelage, man. I was like, you know what, man? I want to see what this is about, helping these kids, man. So you remember, I got a job up there at the a little part-time
at JDC.
Yeah, I
remember that. It was you and one of the other homies that came through. I don't really want to say his name because I don't want him feeling no type of way. But my the homie came down there. I do remember this. Yes, sir. What was your experience? Okay, here we go. What was your experience like down there? How did that work? Before I go off and finish the second half of this, go ahead, bro. Run it.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I got in there, man. I was like, this ain't for me, bro. I said,
exactly. It's man. Hey, listen, them environments are rough. So check this out, right?
Yeah.
I feel bad because I'm shooting this on my phone and I wanted to do my little research, and I can't remember because the theorists who came up with this deal, man, there's this thing called the great man theory of leadership. You ever heard of that before?
I'm familiar. I'm a little familiar.
So basically this theory states that depending upon certain situations, right, certain factors and whatnot, that over time or throughout time, there have been great men who, because of the necessity for them to rise to the occasion, they come to the forefront and they step up and they become leaders. And a lot of times, man, the environments that you and I both come from, for sure, you know, when you kind of get thrown in the fire, bro, you get thrown in the deep end of the pool, it's sink or swim.
Right.
So there's definitely a need, you know, for us to kind of galvanize, for us to kind of, you know, and figure it out on our own. Does that make sense? And
Absolutely.
bro, and this will kind of tie in with what I feel like we're gonna talk about later, and my little theory of education and whatnot too. But you know, nobody gonna give you nothing, man. You got to get out here and get it figured out for yourself, man. So, those were some tough times, some treacherous times, but you know, there's a lot of self-discovery that comes in those situations. And a lot of times, bro, you know, when you get through and you get to the other side of those things, and you can kind of look back on some of that, you could laugh like we did today. So I'll be honest and say that I knew that wasn't it for you. I knew that wasn't it for you, but I appreciate you giving it a try. You know what I'm saying? Giving it a try.
I wasn't there mentally. I wasn't there. I wasn't developed. I still had an undeveloped brain at that age. I think I was in my early 20s. I think maybe 20. Yeah. So I still had an undeveloped brain, man. And
you ain't much farther behind me though. I don't think.
But back then I wasn't there, man. I was like, nah, this.
That's
one thing I remember walking out of it. I was like, shit, I tried, man.
yeah. You get. Hey, listen, and listen. So this is something too. There's a lot of kind of old little axioms or what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of cliche things that we used to say back in the day that I think you know, histrionics or whatever, like over time are kind of proven not to be true. And one of these things I think that we need, and as a coach, as a father, a role model, and a mentor, I'm gonna say this, and some people might find this to be controversial, but I happen to personally think that quitting is okay. And from this standpoint, you're not meant to do everything. So you know, the way that you know that you're trying or is that you're failing, and there's nothing wrong with attempting something and finding out that you're not good at it, bro. You know, and people try to force these round pegs or these square pegs into these round holes. It's not working for them. So why would you constantly get? And I do know, you know, I have seen situations where you know, parents have tried to push their kids into doing something because they think that this is what they want them to do, and so on and so forth, bro. And I think that there's nothing wrong with you know, trying some things and getting it figured out kind of through trial and error, bro. So yeah,
right. I agree with you 100%, bro.
Yep. So 2008, I joined, or excuse me, I get hired as a crisis intervention specialist. I do that job until up until 2018, I think it was 2018 October. I stepped up and became a teacher. I taught computer applications at Lawton High School for 2 years. Now, this entire podcast can go way left, but I'm gonna stay professional. I'm gonna maintain my professional bearing because I feel like if I don't, then I'm gonna undermine the latter part of what it is that I want to talk about. But man, and it was I don't want to say necessarily that it was a mistake, but if I had to do all over again, and I don't know, I mean, you know, God doesn't make any mistakes. We go through the things that we go through for a definite reason. But knowing what I endured personally, what my experience was, I probably would have left Lawton High alone, bro. I probably would have said, "Now you can keep it. I'm gonna stay over here." You know, at Central, because at the time I was working with a gym. Rest in peace, Ken Starworth Sr., my dude. He and I started a mentorship program at Central. I think that this would have probably been in the spring of 2017ish, somewhere around there, bro. And I was a head basketball coach at Central Middle School. He was my assistant 6th grade basketball coach. You know, much older gentleman than me. And I'll be honest with you, bro. up until that time, outside of my dad, I had never really had anybody to mentor me. But he was when he and I met, it was instant, bro. It was instant. The synergy was there. We hit it off. We got along. We saw eye to eye on so many things. And I forget how we even came to discussing, like, there's this need or this call for us to kind of step outside of ourselves and do something extra for these boys over here. Because we had so many, young men, who, and I don't want to throw this cliche out there either, but, didn't have a father around or have positive male role models around. But also, man, so, we stepped up and we formed a mentorship group, Young Men in Action, bro. And that changed my life, diving off into that, having these meetings with these guys. We ended up, the culmination of that was one of the dopest things I think personally, that I've ever managed to achieve in my life, man. We took a group of kids. My youngest son, Draylon, is included in this group. And we took these guys to Memphis, man. We rented a van and drove down to Memphis, Tennessee, went to the Lorraine Museum, the Civil Rights Museum. Yeah. And that was life altering.
I bet it was, bro.
Life altering, bro.
Draylon was a part of it?
Yeah. Not just for those kids, but for me also, to go down there and see some of that, read up on some of the things that Dr. King was all about. So many other people were involved in the civil rights movement and stuff like that too. I mean, and to be able to share that moment and do that with a guy like Coach Stallworth, man, just made it all that much better, man. We stopped on the way back at the in Arkansas in Little Rock. I think there's a President Clinton has a library there or something like that, and we stopped there. We visited that place too. But it's such a beautiful thing. Our ideology, or our way of thinking is that, hey, listen, young men, young people, just people in general, they'll do better if they know that it's possible, right? So if you sit it in front of them, and you show them, how powerful their choices are. I say this all the time in Passport to Manhood, a group that I do. I'm running another mentorship program. Vikings in Preparation, we call it VIP. And every single session, man, I talk to these kids about how important that the choices that they make are, man. And really, if you think about it, Eddie, we don't have any other power outside of our ability to choose and make choices, man. And our lives end up being the sum total of the choices that it is that we make. And so, it's really dope to have that impact and to kind of be in a position that God saw fit to put me and Ken Stallworth and many other men too in that position, man, to be able to do that. So, and that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. But yeah, man, Lawton High was a debacle, bro. that was bad in a lot of different ways. I actually started a mentorship program over there. It's called Gentlemen of Lawton High. We had that rocking and rolling. I think that program is still going as well. And there's enjoying some success over there. At least I hope they are. And man, that whole 2 years. That whole 2 years was very tumultuous, man. There was an ugly situation that transpired where I was supposed to get paid. I missed out on a $3,000 payday because of the negligence of some people, in my chain of command. And like I know that when you speak up and you have something to say about these types of things, and I hate to say it like this, but I'm on your podcast and I feel like I got a definite the ability to say it. When you look like we look, then you come across as angry. And unfortunately, that was the way that it was perceived until I got the opportunity to have some sit down meetings with some individuals, man, and kind of share my side of the story, which they reluctantly really didn't even want to do that. But glory to God, man, it all ended up working out. The homie Calvin Glasgow just so happened to get the head principalship over at Eisenhower Middle School, and and he reached back out. You remember Calvin because we played ball with him, flag football with him. And you talk about freak athletes, bro.
Yeah.
freakish athlete. Him, Jason Sellers, there's a couple dudes out there, but yeah. He definitely looked out for me, man. Came back, reached his hand back, was like, listen, man, I got a position open for dean of students. You're gonna be handling discipline, and I think you perfect for this. And extended his hand out to me, man, and we ain't been looking back ever since, man.
Man, dude. See, that's what it's about, man. Like, I feel like, like you said, you used to say, man, like, mentorship and character. They're definitely like super important aspects of what you've done in your life, man.
Yeah, man.
You said something earlier, bro. I want to touch base on it.
Do it.
What we have control of, I think, as men, as young Black men, especially, the only thing we do have control over is our choices and the decisions we make.
That's factual.
How do you impute that into these young kids, man, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old kids? I got a 12-year-old now, man. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get it. I guess my question would be, how do you impute that into these kids, man? Like, I know it's an ongoing process for you, bro. I know.
Yeah, okay. So, I would like for you to allow me the grace here to say this, that, people by nature are pretty stupid, bro. I think, all of us are. So, think about this too. When we start, and we haven't gone down this avenue yet, but we can if you would like to. How many times does the Bible repeat itself? How many lessons, how many parables are there that basically kind of have and convey the same message? So you need to hear this time and time and time and time and time again. I need to hear it. I need to be reminded of that. So there's a curriculum and that I used to use. I've expounded upon it myself at this time, but the Boys and Girls Club of America had what they call the 6 pillars of character, bro. Trustworthiness, responsibility, fairness, caring, citizenship, and respect. So I preach all 6 of these character traits every single time I have a session. I actually, if I were to show you a picture of my office, bro, I got these up on the wall in my office. When the kids come in there, they look around that office and they see those 6 pillars. And I talk to them about it. And I preach these things. And listen, once again, it's not even necessarily that you preach it, that you talk about it, but you got to walk that walk too. So there is the need for the young people that I talk to, that I come into contact with, that my audio and my video match, bro, that they line up with each other. So I think that's one aspect of it. But we talk about and I try to come up with creative and catchy little ways to give little analogies here and there. I use this one when we talk about choice, right? Let's say me and you are in the supermarket, right? I'm up at the register. I got a cart full of groceries. I'm about to check out, right? I'll pull out my little money or whatnot. This probably back in the day, everybody pay with cards now, but I got a little stack. I got a little wad of money with me and whatnot. A nice little crispy blue face fall out of my pocket, right?
You dig?
You see it, but I don't see it, right? You see this, but I don't know that I dropped this money. Now, at that particular time, you walk over, you pick the money up. So there's really only 2 things that you could do. You can either keep that or you can decide to give it back. And so what we do is we run through all 6 of these pillars, right? If you want to be a respectful individual, right, what would you do? You would get that money back because you understand, right, that it takes a little sweat equity. It takes some work to be able to earn that. If you want to be trustworthy, you would give that money back because it would speak to you being a trustworthy individual, somebody that people can count on, so on and so forth. So we use these little analogies and different things like that. But again, I'm really big on this. The kids need to see it reflected in me. The kids need to see me walking that walk, not just talking that talk. And so I think that that's something that, and again, that goes back to football, what we talked about earlier. That goes back to that work ethic, what we talked about earlier. Being genuine, being who you say you are, doing the things that you say you're going to do, all of that. And none of us is perfect, so I don't want to be up here like I'm tooting my own horn. But at the end of the day, I think that this stuff works, and it's effective. Because of the way that I teach it, but also because the kids can see it alive and living in me. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Absolutely, man. That's a good take on that, man. Talk to me a little bit about the programs that you are and initiatives that you take a part in now, man. What you got going on now in the systems as the dean of students here?
As the dean of students. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about that, and then I'll talk a little bit about what it is that I'm doing now with the VIP group. As the dean of students, I've been placed in charge of handling discipline at the middle school. Excuse me. And when you think about Lawton, a lot of people have their own opinion about what Lawton is like. What Eisenhower and what Eisenhower Middle School is like, and all that grand stuff. But when I think of the word discipline, a lot of people associate discipline with punishment, right? But that's not actually what discipline is, and that's not how it really operates. Discipline means training. Okay, discipline means training. You get up in the morning, you go work out. After you get up. You get your spirit right first. You pray. You know what I'm saying? You get your workout in. You eat your breakfast, whatever it is that you need to do, and being able to find yourself in a routine constantly over and over again, and that training, okay, is discipline. Now, I'm a firm believer in this too. That after a certain period of time, you can start to lean into discipline, and it's almost like you can kind of find yourself on autopilot a little bit, because I know that at 5:30, when my alarm go off, I need to be up here at this school by 6. I need to have my little prayer going at 6:05. I got 30 minutes to get this sweat in, 20 minutes to go hit this track, and then I got to get back over here because I got to be at duty at 7:20. So, man, and again, if I'm going to be somebody who handles discipline, people need to see discipline at work in my life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So, that's the first part of it. And because mentorship and because character have been so important in me, and when we start talking about the grand scheme or the bigger picture of education, education is designed, or it should be, effective education, good education also has character components in it. Does that make sense? There's not a whole lot of people that become highly educated that also have, really, really bad character, that are irreputable people. So it's important. It's important that you marry the two or merge the two, so that the education within you can be very effective. Does that make sense? And I'll touch back on that point here in a minute when I jump into my theory. But one of the things that I'm doing now, we call it VIP, Vikings in Preparation. And it's pretty much the mirror image of Young Men in Action at Central, Gentlemen of Law and High. And out at the youth center, we call it Passport to Manhood. So these are all these groups that I've done at every place where I've worked at. We're about to start something new at the youth center called the Journey Program. And I think for the first time in my life, I'm gonna open these groups up to young ladies, because I definitely see that there's a need there as well. But what I'm trying to do at Eisenhower is get these young men to buy in and understand that character is important. And again, we do community service. We meet every other Thursday, where we talk about character. We talk about the power of choice. Your greatest power is your ability to choose. Then the following Thursday, we do a community service event around the school. We'll go out and clean the parking lot up. We'll pick trash up. We go into the auditorium and vacuum and sweep and clean. Go clean the gym up. All types of stuff. And I think that does several things. It teaches kids about community involvement. It teaches them to take accountability of their environment. And also too, when you do that, they develop a different respect for the area where they go to school at. They take a little bit of pride in that. And so on so many different levels, man, I think it speaks to, again, we can change the culture and we can have an impact on our environment and our community, just by being good people, just by being good men. And a lot of times, man, young people just don't understand that. They don't have a concept of the impact that they have, and so they do anything. And a lot of times, you're gonna have an impact one way or another, and that impact, many oftentimes than not, man, is negative, bro. And I'm sick of that. I'm tired of seeing that. We've had some very ugly situations, man, that have occurred. There's been 10 homicides here in Lawton.
10 homicides.
Since January 1, we've had 10 homicides. The last two are involving a bunch of kids. I don't want to get too deep off into this, but the last two are involving about 6 or 7 kids, man, that I have either coached, taught, or had some kind of direct line communication or influence with. You know what I mean? And that's disheartening for me. It's epic. To me, I view it as an epidemic. I might be the only person, in the town or in the city that feels like that. But, through initiatives like Gentlemen of Lawton High, Young Men in Action, VIP, the Journey Program and Passport to Manhood, that's really kind of my way of combating some of this stuff, man, because I think it's desperately needed. And there are very few and far between, too many guys, trying to do that here in Lawton anyway.
I'm glad you said that, man, because I wanted to expound on something on that right there, what you just said. You kind of gave a solution as to how we can start to try to fix this, man. What's the age group? You said it was 10 homicides, and the last couple of them included kids. What's the age group of those kids,
bro? And this is sad, right? This is sad. The oldest involved in all of this, like we're talking about victim, perpetrators and everything. The oldest person, I think, is 23, 24 years old. Wow. And that I read it in the paper, man. They trying to get these boys life, and I think that they pled out so that they wouldn't get the death sentence, bro. So we're talking about a 23, 24-year-old young man. That was the same time that you and I were talking about when we were playing semi-pro football. And these guys don't have any outlets. They chose, they choose that gang life, or that street life. And the youngest man, and this is very sad to say, is 15 years old, bro. 15. And I think 2 or 3 or 4 of these kids were all under the age of 18. They got classified as youthful offenders, and they're gonna all get tried as adults, bro. And it's sad. It's sad. And again, I could name names. I could see faces. It's had me in my feelings last weekend. I ain't gonna lie to you, because there's a part of this that I take personally. I feel like there's a stake that I have any guy who's ever coached, anybody I think who's ever taught or had any type of influence or any type of communication, contact, close quarters with young people, man. You want the best for them, and you want for them to make good choices and good decisions for themselves, and you hate to see young, especially because at 23, man, really you're still a baby, man.
I
in a lot of ways, you're still a baby. You're saying your brain wasn't developed, so right. And to know that some of these guys they may never see the light of day again, man, on the other side of a prison cell or the yard or whatever, man. That broke my heart, man. That took a toll on me because there's definitely times when you might have seen this or I might have seen it and try to combat that. And a couple of these do take cases that, if they would be honest with you, man, I'd have stepped to a couple of these cats, man, before.
Oh, I already know you.
You know what I'm saying? So definitely in a way that they need it, though, and that was done in love. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's something that I think is desperately needed, and it's something that I can't really see myself changing, man. I'm gonna be preaching and talking about character, bro. and until they put me in a box, man. Because I believe in that. I believe in it. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about kind of what happened with me, or I characterized what happened, and when I was working at Law and High, and this is what I will say. I don't believe that if I had not possessed the character, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I think if I had let my emotions get the better of me, if I had let my frustration get the better of me, if I had turned into the person that maybe even some of the people above me in the chain of command, and we talking all the way up the chain. If I had become, the little angry black guy that they try to categorize you as, man, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. It would be an impossibility, bro. So I'm definitely glad to have had the merger of character and the emphasis of character, but also too, man, the grace of God on my life, man. That's something that we can't deny, you or I.
Yep, and I want to say this, man. The one thing that I acknowledge about you early on in your life, and I took a page out of your book, was that you did a heck of a job, bro. This is the first time you're gonna hear me say this too, but you did a heck of a job making sure that them two boys didn't have to look and take this. Hey, this is gonna be a good one. You did a heck of a job of making sure that your two boys didn't have to look past your dinner table for an example of a role model.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that,
bro. I spent a lot of time with you, bro, when I was in Oklahoma.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate that.
That's one thing, bro. That's one page I took out of your book. I was like, man, this dude really, his kids don't have to look past the dinner table for a role model, bro.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you saying that, because that makes it all worth it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think I don't want to seem crass or alleviate the severity of what it is that we've been talking about, but I think that is and you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this, because I think the boys are good advertising. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure. Again, for somebody who tries to preach and who tries to talk and who tries to embody character and live out these values and all this other type of stuff, I think that I don't have to do a whole lot of talking, because again, you can see it in me and you can see it in my boys. Does that make sense? So and I think that there's definitely something there, and I want to give all glory, honor, praise, and credit